that Mike Merchant uses. It's my favorite Mike Merchant story because it's a sports analogy. And it's about a tour of the University of Alabama football facility. So they're touring the facility and they come across an equipment manager who is folding towels. And they say, you know, sir, what are you doing? And he says, I'm preparing to win a national championship. And that's the way good organizations work. Everybody is working toward the primary goal. And in the school system, whether you work in the central office, whether you are support staff, whether you are the linebacker coach or the offensive coordinator or the equipment manager, right? We are working toward being the fastest improving urban school system in America. We are all serving the schools and serving our students. So next week, a week from today, budget season starts for the board. Each of you will get a document that looks just like this. This is the current year budget. It's dated June 19, 2018. The document you get next week will be the proposed expenditures, of course, for 2019-2020 fiscal year, and you will go over it painstakingly in great detail. Listen to many viewpoints and the people who come before you to talk. And in April, you'll pass a budget that is consistent with the board's priorities. Budget will then go to the council and we will hear the question. How much of that is central office? Now, we don't have a central office category in our budget. We don't budget by location, we budget by function. And that's required by the state. The categories in our budget are the categories set by the state. And that's our answer, usually, with that question. And that's not a very satisfying answer. And so we need to do an analysis. We want you, right, to be armed with as much information so you can advocate for that budget. So we went through all of the items. This is work I've been doing for some time. It takes a while. Through this document to go through and see if we can analyze how much of this budget is what you would call central office. Now, this analysis is a matter of interpretation. If you ask 100 people who know, right, 100 people who are familiar with the operation and the function of the school system, you might get several different answers, maybe 100 different. But they'd all be within a pretty close range. So let's look at an initial interpretation. First, for some context. On the screen is Metro Nashville's budget expenditures. This is the full government, Metro government budget. And you'll see that education is the largest part of it. That's really about 39.6, 39.7%. It's rounded in the Metro government's budget documentation and, of course, in this pie chart. Public safety, which is 21%, and it goes on down. The part I want you to look at is the yellow slice. That is general government. It's 11%, right? That is akin to our central office, right? That is the Metro government's, what it costs to run government, okay? Now, it's not apples to apples. That's fair enough. But if you don't count the police, if you don't count the jails, if you don't count the courts, if you don't count the parks, if you don't count infrastructure and transportation, and libraries, recreation and culture, health and social services, or education, or other, I'm not sure what that is. The general government is 10.7% of the metro government budget. And that goes to show that it costs a lot to operate a large organization. It just does. So our budget, MNPS budget, is organized into 10 categories. Now, these are dictated by the state, as we said, and they describe the functions really well, and they have served us well over the years. That's how, our budget presentation is award-winning. Mr. Henson and the Finance Department, the Budget Office, do a great job. But there are 10 categories, and those are administration, leadership and learning, attendance and social services, transportation, operation of plant, maintenance of buildings, fixed charges, adult and community services, operating transfer to charter schools, reimbursable projects. Those will all be listed in that document next week that you get. And they are all have account numbers. But that still doesn't answer. Yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry, just so
Sure.
I'm clear. So again, the MNPS budget categories are mandated by the state.
That's right.
Okay, so everything that comes to us in our budget next week has to fall under one of those categories.
It will follow that structure in this book. In the last page, like 31 of 31, will have a summary of the amounts in each of those categories. Now, that doesn't necessarily answer the question of what is central office. For several reasons we know that, because those are the categories we've had for years and people still ask what is central office. Secondly, there are things in leadership and learning, for example, that we would all consider a central office position, a central office expenditure, but it's not in the administration section, right? So it takes, so my interpretation, my analysis, went to set up some other categories that are at least more helpful for me, right? These aren't necessarily accounting terms, right? They're not necessarily anything but an advocacy term. It's really helpful, I think, in explaining the budget. So these are how we separated the budget items, the account numbers that will be in that document or in this analysis. Right, so there's students and schools, and you have a handout that has these listed by account number, the same account number that appears in the budget document you will get. And so the categories are students and schools. Those are things that go to the schools. Charter schools, those are things that go to charter schools. District-wide services are services provided to the schools, but that come from a central location, right? Central office, retiree and miscellaneous employee benefits. That is a separate category because it didn't really fit in any of the others. The miscellaneous employee benefits there are, say, death benefits and injury on the job benefits. Retiree benefits speak for themselves. And the last category are those things paid to metro government or MDHA. Now, if an item is placed in one of these categories, that's not a value judgment as to whether it's good or bad. It's just where it is slotted, right, for description. Now, there are, if you look at your list, there are some that have an asterisk. Those are ones that are in the budget are hybrids. Part of it goes in one section, in one category. Part of it is in another category. So those are ones that appear in more than one category in this analysis. Now we can go through a couple of those as an example. HR. HR is primarily a central office function. But one of the line items in the budget is the contract for Kronos and the contract for Teach for America. Well, that's a district-wide service. And so that part of that section is considered district-wide service for purposes of this analysis. Another good example is Community Achieves. Community Achieves is a budget account number, right? It has, I don't know, three or so employees that would be considered central office. The rest are in schools. And so that budget account, right, is separated into two categories, central office and schools. So district-wide services, right, are things like utilities. Those are things that goes to the schools, security, that sort of thing, and you can see that list. So here's the question, and you all have a Post-it note.
Activity time?
And here's your activity. Here's what I want you to do. And everyone who has a Post-it note, I want you to think this. Councilman, you can just think it out loud or to yourself. Write down on your Post-it note. You don't have to turn it in. What percentage, based on those categories, is central office? And if you guess too little, maybe you don't appreciate how much it takes to run a organization this large. If you guess too much, you guess too much. If you guess it just right, because this is going to be to the hundredths of a percentage point, then I'll think you cheated. So I'll give you a second to think about that. Think on it. Write it down. What's the percentage of central office in the current year budget? You got a number in your mind?
Yes.
Everybody's thinking?
Are we gonna do
It's like a Price is Right game.
No, it's like Jeopardy. Where
Is it
you-
Jeopardy?
Higher, lower?
Dude, where's the music?
Right? You don't even have to tell. I don't want to know.
Oh,
All right?
What's the answer?
But I'll show you what, according to my analysis and according to those,
Come on, it's killing me. Come on. The 6%?
it is 3.56%.
What'd you guess?
Okay, so again, so for all of Metro, for Metro Nashville government, their central office is 11%, and MNPS is sitting at 3.56%.
Yeah, let's be fair. It's 10.7% is their general government. I don't want to exaggerate.
Are there any?
But their pie does say 11% on their website. That's right. And again, right? And that is and the things in general government for Metro are the mayor's office, the finance department, the assessor's office, the trustee, things that it takes to run a government. And it is, yes, 10.7%. So the part that goes to schools, right, either directly or to charter schools or as a service to schools is 65.11 plus 14.12 plus 12.48. That's, and carry the one, how much is that? 93 some percent that goes to schools. Are you surprised by that?
better believe it.
Will this be disseminated or presented out to community members and council members and the mayor?
The first step is here.
Okay.
And I want to discuss it with you, right? Because I want to get your input on this too. I want you to look through it too and understand. And part of what we can do then, right, is this is the current year. In a week, we'll have another budget document to look at as well.
So if we label this 1819 MNPS budget allocations and posted it to the website, I could click on that blue section. I'm projecting here. Click on the blue section as a community member and find out what kinds of things are in the blue section of the budget. I think that would be helpful. Because just putting it out there still begs the question, well, what
Right,
are
do you
its
think that would
resources?
be, do you think that would be helpful?
I think
for-
it would be.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I do think it would be helpful, but I also like the comparison to Nashville as a whole, because you do have community members that think that we can just rearrange some funding or we can fire a few people. And it's like, well, if we still need tens of millions of dollars, even if we did all of that, then we just wouldn't have any fidelity or supervision. So I think it's good to have that comparison, but definitely have both of them and have some explanations. But yes.
And we spoke today about it's important to identify other large school districts that look like us and to show their percentages, because, again, I think to the general public, they see 3% and they're like, well, is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. Until you see, Prince George's County was at 8%, and Montgomery County is at 6%, and Austin is at X percent. Then you say, oh, they're doing pretty good then. So we'll make sure we look at those comparisons. And we do have a call in to Michael Casserly, who's the executive director of the Council of Great City Schools, because I do know they keep track of that, or he would know that range to help have kind of external, an external assessment of where we are in comparison to others.
So would it be other urban, so the interesting
Yes.
question would be other urban school districts with similar student enrollment, or other urban school districts with similar populations, like city?
I don't know if that matters if you're looking at the percentage of their budget that's allocated towards the piece.
So it's first the percentage of the city's budget that goes to education, and then how that percentage is then distributed. So I think it's a
That's what you're saying.
two-tier, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So I didn't mean to mean,
That's-
is it the same 3 million people?
Yes.
Is it, so what percentage of the city's budget is given to out education, then how's that breakdown?
Okay. So this presentation had two purposes, right? One was to start that conversation and really get you revved up for the budget season that's coming. And also to get you talking and give you the information to help you advocate for us as we move along for the school system and for the board's priorities.
How comfortable do you feel with us moving forward with these? Because, I've had a few different community meetings, and I still have a couple more to go. Do you feel comfortable sending this to us and allowing us to begin disseminating this out, or do you want some more time with it before we present it?
I am comfortable with you using this, and you can say that it's Mark North's. Because if somebody else comes up, nitpicks and say that's not quite right, I wouldn't have put,
It's 3.57.
I wouldn't put utilities there.
Then
or I
somebody
wouldn't.
comes up.
That's, and that will happen, or because it's a tough analysis to do. It's right. It's not simple. So, I mean, if you want to blame it on me, that's fine.
Well, I think that
If you want to.
Yeah, I think the point is to just, for us, is to define it and then be consistent as we go
Right.
forward with it.
And that's part of the beginning of this conversation is what is there a, it's got to be more than, I know central office when I see it in the budget, right? It's something that everybody is on the same page and with and we need your input on that.
So we talked this morning about treating this sort of like you do with research. You start off with the definitions. So when we define central office, we'll be specific, and we have the author's right to define
Yep.
what central office is, since definitions will vary. So at least people know what we're talking about, and based upon what we're talking about, we're at 3.5%.
That makes sense.
That's all I have.
Job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do it next weekend.
Like Obama.
Drop the mic. I just defined central office.
Oh, that's what you've been asking for? That little swing of the arm has got.
Just a reminder, you have an executive session that starts to go over some
minutes.
work. Just
Buzz Killian.